Hi there, good afternoon. This is the lovely city of Oristano. A Sunday, very quiet, but beautiful, clear blue skies, not a cloud. Excellent. Here, October 1st, but still nice and warm. So, the plan for today is to head for this archaeological site that looks really fascinating. An hour and a half away. Once again, getting a late start. I've been up since 7 o'clock this morning, but have been very busy. It is now 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so not sure what's going to happen today, what exactly I will be able to fit in, but hopefully we get to this historical site and I'm sure see some stuff along the way. Of course, I've got to get to the beaches. There are tons of amazing looking beaches here, which I haven't seen yet, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, tomorrow, last day here in Sardinia. I have to leave because my 90 days in Europe is up, so I'll do my best. All right, let's find the car. That is going to be the tricky part, and then get out of here. So there is the pub that I showed at the end of the last video. I ended up driving down here, trying to get to my hotel, and it quickly became apparent that trying to navigate using Google Maps to get to my hotel was practically impossible. And so I just parked because I was close, and that is a good way to go. Once you're in the old town, just find a parking spot somewhere relatively close to your hotel and then park it and walk. So I recognize this church. My car should be right there. Boom. So the first unplanned stop of the day. There is the highway that I was on, and as I was cruising along, saw a sign for Santa Cristina with a simple little historical building image on it. Pulled over, took a look, and turns out it looks really incredible. The Nuragic Sanctuary of Santa Cristina, a few kilometers from the small town of Palilatino, one can find the archaeological remain of the Sanctuary of Santa Cristina, a construction attributed to the Nuragic civilization that inhabited the island of Sardinia between the 18th century AC and the 2nd century BC. Now, I have never heard of the AC-DC time references. AC apparently is BC and DC is AD. Other than, you know, the band AC/DC. But anyways, since about 3,700 years ago, then the civilization lived here on Sardinia that was very spiritual and fairly advanced. So that is what we're going to see. And so there are tons and tons of these really ancient historical sites here on the island of Sardinia that are a lot older than in some other places such as Sicily. I assume there's older ones there as well, but they don't seem to be as common for some reason. So Bronze Age 2200, not showing anything, and then 1800, that is around when this ancient civilization lived here. Okay, let's go check it out. So the sanctuary, Nuragico, and the village, Sacred Well, apparently they were water worshippers, which makes a lot of sense. Somewhere that it's dry. The Hypogean Temple or Sacred Well of Santa Cristina of Palilatino in the province of Oristano in center-western Sardinia is located inside an archaeological park The structure is made up by 3 elements: vestibule or hall, stairway, and a circular hypogeian room. There it is. Let's go around it first. And something else over there. So they are really quite mysterious because they obviously have a very important function. As I showed in my last video, the massive castle with very little room inside of it. No room for people to live, barely room for somebody to, spend a little time, but you wouldn't want to, live in that structure. We'll see as we get down into it, but I'm assuming this also is not going to be a living space. Whoa. This is wild. It is much more advanced looking than I thought it was going to be. So that is it. It's advanced structure, all just for, well, you can't say just when you're talking about water, but presumably it is a natural well, and so of course the life of the village could very well depend on that. But for it to be so kind of artistic and precise, they could have just dug a hole down to the well, but they made this very beautiful and quite possibly symbolic, structure emphasizing the importance of water to their lives. And so here a more functional room, it appears. So I'm not sure where I'm going now. There's this path looking for the village. What is this? Something more recent, I guess? Okay, so we have a series of older buildings that are clearly quite recent, relatively speaking. A few hundred years old, something like that, it looks like. Roof collapsed there. Oh, this is a church. Villaggio Nuragico, so the Nurage culture is the old one. So that's going to be a very different looking village. Okay, another oddly shaped structure. What in the world would this be used for? Maybe they were really short, or they could have had, you know, wooden ceiling on top of it and then been easily tall enough to stand in. Or perhaps an animal enclosure. Love this forest. Okay. That looks very similar to the image that I saw on the sign from the highway. It's like a beehive-shaped structure. Going along the path that leads to the Nuraj village, immersed in luxurious vegetation, centuries-old olive trees, wild olive, and mastic trees, you catch a glimpse of the most recent habitual visits to the site. Carrying on, you come to the oldest settlement in Santa Cristina Park, the Nuraj. The monument, surrounded by the rest of the village, dates back to the Middle Bronze Era, 1500 BC. The elongated barn, there we go. That must be what I saw there. So, animal enclosure. Oh, maybe that is the elongated barn. Whoa. I know you can't see much. There are stairs to the top. Awesome. So, a little bit reminiscent of the one that I saw yesterday. Okay, it doesn't go all the way to the top, but once again, a very sturdy structure with not much room inside it. If it was just about creating a home, you could make something a heck of a lot easier that would have the exact same amount of room, and in fact you could make something a lot bigger, a lot easier than this. So high ceiling and then 3 alcoves. Once again, this seems like it must have some sort of a spiritual, religious sort of function. Not just, you know, the king's house or whatever. So I guess this is the elongated structure. The barn. So maybe the other one was also, it was quite similar, not quite as high of walls. This one has a ceiling of rocks. Okay. Very, very interesting, especially for an unplanned surprise stop. So, let's get back in the car there, keep on cruising. A reservoir on the right there, Lago Bomodeo. Just wanted to show the landscapes. Nice easy drive on the freeway here. Not especially interesting landscapes so far in the interior. Just kind of rolling hills, forests, shrubs. But I love the wild feeling of Sardinia. It just feels very remote and rugged. When it comes to comparing Sicily versus Sardinia, I have to say that so far, Sicily is a lot more beautiful, a lot more interesting in many ways, but I can't say yet that I prefer Sicily over Sardinia. For one thing, I haven't seen the beaches of Sardinia yet, and also I really like the feeling of Sardinia, just being more out there, less touristy for sure, very authentic, and just very unique. You can tell, even though it is Italy, it is Italian, it has its own, culture, both due to the Italian people here being more isolated, but also I'm sure just the kind of lingering effects of all these other civilizations that we are witnessing in these ancient ruins, may have some sort of little subtle effect on just the energy of the island. So I really like Sardinia as well, and really wish that I had more time. I will have to come back. And another unplanned stop in, or at least near, the town of Sedillo. But I'm not here to see this very ghost-looking town. Okay, there is Archeologico Orbazari, and that looks like Roman ruins. That is not what I was stopping for, but something that said sanctuary, and then I saw the building from the freeway, clearly a church or monastery that looked quite intriguing. Okay. That is not it. Where did it go? There should be a sign for it. And there it is. That's what I saw from the freeway. There is the lake, or the reservoir. And look at this place. This is amazing. There's even more to it than I realized. A whole complex surrounded by a wall. Whoa. Clearly a Christian community of some sort. Monastery or a Christian village or something. Bachisio. Is that 1913? Yes. San Costantino Cartamula Bachisio. But this is no ordinary church complex. These strange steps and terraces and then pillars. What is going on here? Totally unique style here. Never seen the inside of a church quite like this. What is this? I mean, this does not look typical Christian. Could these be stones that were found here when the Christians arrived? Maybe one of those earlier civilizations. This is trippy. Very clearly looks like some sort of a significant altar, and then square carved into the base of maybe something would have sat on top of that. Never seen rocks shaped quite like this before. What the heck? Is that, yeah. So, water, you know, trough or whatever. Or a fountain or... Okay, let's try to get to where I'm trying to go. But at least in the meantime, we are seeing some really, really amazing, very little known places.
In 400 meters, turn left onto SP22.
Intense mountain up ahead. Village. Or town rather, sprawled across it. Orgosolo or Oliena, I guess.
Take the second left onto SP22, then turn left.
Bone, Dorgali, Oliena, Orgosolo. So I am mentally preparing myself to be disappointed. The reason is, this is not looking like where or what I was expecting it to be. Not that I drove in the completely wrong direction or anything, but I think that this is not quite the site that I was expecting. So, Domus de Llanes. This means house of the fairies. And so this was a pre-neurologic civilization. In other words, older than what we saw before the well and what I showed yesterday at Batumini. These are even older. The Domus de Llanes are ancient communal burial chambers dating from the late Neolithic age, 3800 to 2900 BC, so almost 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, and the culture of San Michel. These tombs are to be found throughout the island, usually carved out in limestone or in tuff, and less frequently in granite and basalt. The entrance leads to the chambers, which have been hacked out of solid rock using stone picks. It's thought that the Domus de Llanes were a reproduction of the dwellings of the living used to house the deceased, as many domestic objects, including tables, chairs, stools, benches, and fireplaces, have been found inside the chambers. So they are necropolises, in other words, where people were buried under rock or inside rock, but then I guess they were decorated in some way that the chambers resembled homes, and so it was like they were recreating their home for the deceased to live, something like that. But the reason that I am preparing to be disappointed is because the images that I had seen online looked totally different from this being right in a town. I think that I was seeing images of the various ones around the island, which very well may have been more spectacular than these ones. So I'm just looking at a hole here. That isn't much. It is filled with water, just a little cave. Hopefully that isn't all that is here after driving for a couple of hours. But this was what came up on Google when I searched for Domus Deianis, and so I thought that this was like the main site. Oh boy. There's got to be more than that. There's a sign for it, so I'm at the right place. Is that it? That one hole in the ground? There must be more. What does this sign say? Oh man, that was such a long drive. Okay, that looks different. Castello Malicas, y Domus Deiana Malicas. Something is not right here. So here you have some more of the caves. That larger one should be right around here somewhere, because it showed that image with the castle in the background, Malicas, and that is Malicas Castle. Huh, well, so far, definitely disappointed. It is not at all like what I'd seen online. That might have been the one closer to Alghero. That had many more of the tombs and looked a lot more interesting, like larger ones that you could walk inside, and with like multiple chambers, very Cappadocia, Turkey like. Well, at least we saw some interesting stuff along the way. If I hadn't made those stops and had driven all the way here just for this, that would have been an absolute disaster of a travel day. This is a pleasant town. Nice to see more of the island. Driving out here, the road got very windy the last bit there, but at least going back, I'll get that windy part done, and then it's easy driving the rest of the way back to Oristani. Okay, well, it's looking like that was it. Hey. You win some, you lose some. So, this is the one in the photo. It's kind of a close-up shot of it, like from right here. so that it looked bigger. I hadn't seen this one. Looks like this is the biggest one. It's still very small. I guess that is the climax. The best of the ferry houses around here. All right, let's cruise. Nuraghe Losa Abasanta. Good news, we are ending things on a more interesting note. Another one of the Nuraghe temples. It looks very similar to the other one that I saw yesterday. I'll just mention that for the one at Bantumini, something like that, then you had to go on a guided tour for some reason, which was about an hour long. This one, no tour required, so you can just walk in whenever you like. It looks really cool and like almost exactly the same. That other one was quite a long ways away from here, so this really just kind of reinforces the reality that there was this quite extensive civilization living here that was fairly advanced, obviously very well organized, and spread throughout the island almost 4,000 years ago. The archaeological complex of Nuraghe Losa is surrounded by a large enclosure wall with main entrance towers. Inside there is the settlement dating back to the Nuragic, Punic, Roman, and early medieval periods. So, 14th to 7th centuries BC and up to the Punic Roman age 4th century BC to 4th century AD, and then early medieval age 5th to 7th century AD. So, a whole lot of history here. This island really packs a punch in terms of the archaeological sites, just thousands and thousands of years of history. As we've seen just today, 6,000 years. Buongiorno. Yes, sì. Somewhere here. Grazie mille. Grazie. This is so similar to the other one. There were more buildings around the larger building at the place that I went yesterday, but exact same idea. Let's see how it compares inside. So you can see huge fortified building. Impenetrable. And let's see how much room there is inside. Wow. It is very cool in here. So, similar to the other ones with 3 alcoves. What were they for? Why 3 alcoves? And then again, high ceiling, but this does not feel like a place where somebody would have lived. Okay, let's go through here. Okay, so this just opens up to a room. And then I'm guessing the same up here, and then we can go upstairs. Yep, this one fully enclosed. And then, oh, scusi. Spiraling up the building to the top. Buongiorno. Oh. Interesting. There was a little room there, but then it keeps on going to the top. So it's different from the other one, but still very similar. All right. Nice way to end the day after that disappointing ferry house experience.
Così dire nuraghi ci sono solamente in Sardegna.
Esatto,
Poi ci
sì.
sono
Ma qualcosa di simile, tipo tombe o qualcosa così, ce ne sono anche da altre parti, mi ricordo, tipo Egitto.
Allora,
Sto
le tombe
sbagliando?
dei giganti, c'è qualcosa di molto molto simile in
Prego,
Turchia.
Grazie.
Le Domus Deianas, chiamate come Domus Deianas le nostre, decorate, come sono decorate le nostre, le abbiamo solamente in Sardegna. Poi le grotte e le sepolture neolitiche, che sono praticamente le Domus Deianas, ci sono nel Mediterraneo perché è un punto del Mediterraneo.
And let's look at a couple more of the buildings outside. See, they used up a lot of space with this spiraling stairwell. So if it was about creating a living space, somewhere for, you know, a family to live or whatever, then they could have been a lot more efficient with the use of the space, but clearly it is more of a temple than a palace. Okay. Another room. Same thing as the other two, just a very high ceiling room. Okay, that is going to do it for this video. Definitely a very interesting journey through history today. Once again, definitely one of the most fascinating places in the world. Sardinia is full of mysteries.